of it, tax levels at post-war highs, mass uncontrolled immigration, most people coming, not actually working and being a burden and a massive cost, net zero policies, deindustrializing Britain at a rapid rate, giving us the most expensive energy in the world, and generally debt, which went up about 2.5 times during those 14 years. So the economic inheritance that Labour had was poor. And whatever the Tory leader stands up and says in the House of Commons doesn't do anything to take that away. But I have to say, I sat there thinking this really was the Alice through the looking glass budget, with a healthy dose of socialism thrown in. Yes, words mean what I say they mean, not what they really mean. She talks about growth, and yet the projections for the next few years, growth is continually being downgraded. And quite how she and the Prime Minister can talk, they literally talked repeatedly about cutting debt. Cutting debt. And yet, even in their first year, they've borrowed 21 billion more than they were forecast to borrow before they even started. And the parts that I found really difficult to swallow, she talked about entrepreneurs, supporting entrepreneurs, not understanding that actually entrepreneurial people are generally deciding not to stay in this country, let alone invest in this country. And then the sort of classic phrase, no doubt fed to her by the Treasury, that we're stabilising the economy. Well, I was in North Wales earlier this week, and having met with local businesses, family businesses, farmers, I certainly got the feeling that the economy in certain parts of this country is very much on the edge of a precipice. So none of what she really said today was true. Taxes, well, I mentioned them already, but they're now up to 38%, just over 38% of GDP. She's managed to increase taxes in the space of just over a year, nearly more than any other chancellor in history, and they had much longer to do this. Well, we're very, very clear that we genuinely are on the side of alarm clock Britain, because here's the problem. Who is going to pay all these increased taxes? Not just the frozen thresholds, they're bad enough, but all the other taxes, whether it's on taxes or whatever else it may be, basically working people are going to be subsidising a welfare bill that shows no sign of going down whatsoever. Indeed, the Rachel Reeves version of abolishing the two-child cap will cost over £3 billion. Our plan to get rid of it for working British couples would have cost a mere £300 million every year. And if you look at the projections, they're quite clear to admit that net migration by the end of this Parliament will go up to over 1/3 million a year, and that on net zero there is absolutely no acceptance from the government whatsoever of the vast damage that net zero is doing. And all you've got to do is, you know, talk to the Jim Ratcliffes of this world who is at the moment closing down the biggest manufacturing plant left in Scotland to realise the sheer damage this is doing, and yet they're going to continue with their net zero plans. In fact, they're actually going to accelerate them. I would very much sum up this budget as an assault on aspiration and an assault on saving. Quite frankly, what she's done with voluntary contributions to pensions will, I think, kill off the SIP market, the self-invested pension plan. I think today's budget will literally kill that off and do damage to the private pension market, pretty much equivalent to what Gordon Brown did 25 years ago when he put tax on dividend earnings, which then couldn't be fully reinvested. Unnoticed, perhaps, in some areas, dividend taxes up yet again. And, you know, why would you invest if you feel there's a never-ending cycle of taxes on profits going up? Not to mention the mansion tax, which won't affect many people, but no doubt there'll be some widows living in Greater London that will be caused great distress by it. My big prediction from this budget is that the exodus will continue. They've got rid of the non-doms, well done. People that spend vast amounts of money in this country, that employ people, invest in people, they've gone. Many of our highest taxpayers, and bear in mind that 1% now pay 30% of all income tax, they're going. But worst of all of these signals from a government that literally doesn't understand business, because none of them have ever been in business, and frankly, there are few in the opposition who tick that box either. Now, my prediction is the exodus will continue, the exodus will accelerate, and the tragedy of it is the sheer number of 30-somethings who want to work hard, who want to do well, who are ambitious, and for them, they're seeing the Gulf. They're even seeing, ironically, other European countries. Milan in Italy being perhaps a very good example where young, hard-working entrepreneurs are going. That's one very, very big prediction that I've got from this budget. And the other one is, don't be deceived by being told that bills will go down. The big reach-out pledge of this budget, frozen train fares, yes, for those that commute, but energy bills, that's the big push from the government in this budget. Your energy bills will go down by £150. Bear in mind, this is the government that said they'd reduce energy bills by £300, and they're up almost exactly £300. The £150 reduction will be where they take some of the green subsidies, about 3/4 of the green subsidies off domestic energy bills, and throw that into general taxation, which means the working population will actually pay even more than we thought when I walked out of the chamber just some time ago. Energy clearly is going to be at the centrepiece of everything we fight for and stand for over the next couple of years. We cannot have an industrial strategy, we cannot reindustrialise, we cannot invite significant investment, be it British or be it foreign, until first we crack the nut of energy. And I would say this, we can't perform miracles if we win the next election, but we can at least be realistic. And we can at least say that already within reform we have people who've succeeded in the private sector, who've created jobs, who've paid taxes. And it's very much our ambition that we would have people in ministerial positions who are experts in their areas of expertise. Getting back to energy, just think about it. 10 energy ministers over the course of 14 years under a Conservative government, not one of them had a clue about energy, just allowing civil servants to go on running these departments and maintaining a failed status quo. So we will come in with people that actually know what they're doing, the people who have worked in the private sector, and we will attempt to turn around attitudes in this country towards hard work and success. Well, one of those players who's part of the reform team, who has succeeded in the private sector and who's made a detailed analysis of this budget already, and will tell you some of the ways in which Rachel Reeves did not need to put up taxes like that, is my colleague, Zia Youssef.